All right, welcome back to another episode of Paradyme Podcast. We're here talking about Jordan B. Peterson's book, Beyond Order. This is the second in the series. We really enjoy it. Before we jump into the topic, we want to make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, drop a comment down below. How are you liking this book? If you've read it already, if there's parts that we missed, go ahead and drop that down there so we can discuss those ideas. And we just had one more little announcement before we jumped into the episode. We wanted to start by saying, if anyone tells you they have all the answers, run the other direction, right? We here at Paradyme do not claim to have all the answers. We simply desire to be better each day. We make videos in the hope that other people that desire the same can use some of the tools we've discovered along our journey. So, chapter 2 is titled, Imagine Who You Could Be, and then aim single-mindedly at that, right? So the big overarching topic within this chapter was, how is a purpose or goal chosen, right? So Jordan B. Peterson says, we do not choose what interests us. It chooses us. Each of us, when fortunate, is compelled forward by something that grabs our attention. Love of a person, a sport, a political, sociological, or economic problem, or a scientific question. A passion for art, literature, or drama. Something that calls to us for reasons we can neither control nor understand. Something manifests itself out of the darkness as compelling, as worth living for. Following that, something moves us further down the road to the next meaningful manifestation, and so it goes as we continue to seek, develop, grow, and thrive. So, open question to you guys, and feel free to jump in if you feel passionate about it. How has this phenomenon manifested itself in our lives?
Go, Dev.
I think I'll start by saying I think we see it every day. I think we're always changing in the dynamic of I forget which one I am. 3. Mm-hmm. Can you guys good? Yeah. I think we're always changing in the dynamic of like our mentality. But not only that, like we're always looking for new and innovative ways to create the vision that we have for, like, say, an art passion, and finding our purpose or our goal. I'm not sure if you'll ever find that at a specific age, or if you get when you're younger, or if you're supposed to be 30 or 35. Like, I don't think there is an age limit or a time when you're going to hit something where this is my purpose and I found it. I think you stumble upon something where every time you hit a different level or you hit a different stage of that passion or that purpose, you're intrigued by it, but you're sort of fearful as well because you don't know what the next step is. But you're willing to take that on because of how much passion and drive you have behind it. Okay. You're willing to kind of move through it bravely, wholeheartedly, and take on whatever challenges ahead. So I think just learning from JBP in the fact, was it a specific question or just how does it manifest towards our life, or how do we?
Your life personally.
Yeah, so I think that's how I see it in my own personal life is I have a purpose. I would like to believe my purpose is strong to where that's guiding me and that's what's pushing me forward. But I couldn't say like my purpose is finalized and this is what I'm going to be doing and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I think that's always going to be changing, but I have something strong enough to keep pushing me in that direction.
Okay. Do you have something as of right now that's a goal or a purpose that you've identified in your life?
Let's
put a limit to like within the next 5 years.
Oh, definitely. I definitely want to have a single investment property of some sort, duplex, quadplex, or even a single home. I would like to live in a different city, but that's not priority. And then my trading is at a level where I can literally do whatever I want because I can sustain that and I have a large account. Okay. Right? And a large account depending on whatever I define at that time, because some people think $100 is a lot of money. Some people think 1,000. Like I think I'll define that over time.
Okay.
And I think that number will always change.
So JBP says we do not choose what interests us. It chooses us, right? Yeah. So, we know that you're extremely interested in financial literacy, developing yourself financially. And, as a man, I want to know, when did that grab your attention?
I think when I really started recognizing financial stability and security, living in the city.
When was that?
I think around probably at a young age, like hearing my mom always talk about money. You know what I mean? Not consciously being aware of like financial literacy, but consciously being aware that money is a big part of everybody's lives. Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't let it control you or dictate your actions, but you should be smart enough to move in a direction where you're stable. You shouldn't be putting yourself at risk all the time and going zero in your bank account to work the next 3 years and then going to. So I think at a young age, I started to recognize unconsciously or subconsciously that financial stability is something that I want to figure out how to become rich or how to become successful and whatever that means. But success and riches looks different to everybody. But to me, it's just stability, right?
Okay.
Like I live in California. We all live in California, or John lives in VA, and a stability and success is different from city to city, right? What country or what state you live in. The place you can afford here is probably different from what you can afford in VA, right? It's a lot more expensive in California compared to like just student. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so success is a very vague and very subjective way of looking at like riches. So I think just stability and security is kind of like what I'm thriving to have.
Okay. So it sounds like the desire for further financial knowledge, whether it's, investing, whatever lane that is, found you pretty young.
Yeah.
And you just kind of kept deciding to pursue it.
Yep.
Has it been a linear journey?
No.
Okay. Like you didn't just like know the skills how to trade right away.
Yeah, no, because if you talk to Mark is a person that really introduced me into Forex trading, and I was already studying stocks in the stock market, and I thought what he was in was just like a big scam. I was like, bro, there's no way like this is real. Like,
right.
And the more he kept talking to me about it and kept coming over to my house, and there's this one time he was just like, bro, look at this market is this much bigger than the stock market. It's been around for as long as the stock market, maybe even longer. And I just started to do my own research. I was like, I'm kind of tired of listening to what he's saying. Let me find out on my own. And everything he was saying is backed up. But then we tapped into other fields as well, like network marketing and things like that. But Forex has just stuck with me.
Okay.
And I think that will forever stick with me because it's like I can have it. Just like the stock market, you can have that skill forever. It will never go anywhere.
It's interesting because it's like something as small as, it seems maybe not so small. The word isn't probably is what should be used, but your mom talking about money frequently, meeting somebody, right? Yeah. These little things can cause such a shift in somebody's life. Yeah. Right. So an interest found you through, your mom talking about things and a friend of yours, right? Something as small as that can make such a big change and an impact on somebody's life. Right. And I mean, I see you doing the work to do the study, right? We see you doing the work to do, all this stuff to learn how to trade. And it's interesting how that interest found you. Yeah.
I always stand, every time I talk to Mark about it, he's like, bro, that's crazy. Like, I'm not, he always says like, bro, I'm not bragging, but like, I'm the one that showed you. And I was like, you are the one that showed me that shit. Like, totally. And it's like, I don't ever take that away from you. Like, bro, you put me on something that like forever it doesn't matter if I'm pursuing my career. I will still forever be trading. Like, it doesn't matter if like, so yeah.
All right. So stay open. Listen to those opportunities. You don't know when they're going to come, but just say yes. Right? Yeah, we've talked about this in past episodes. Just say yes to things and figure out what it is that interests you.
Yeah, exactly. That time frame from when Mark first introduced me to when me jumping into the Forex market was a whole year. It wasn't just like a week. I literally said no for a whole year.
Say no to drugs.
Don't do those.
But yeah, so I think it's just always, if you are going to be open-minded and you are going to take some sort of adventurous or even just a venture into anything, just do your own research. Find out for yourself. Like, find out what they're telling you, if it's factual or not, or if it's all bullshit. And what he told me was there was a lot of facts behind it.
Okay. All right. How about you guys? How has this phenomenon manifested in your lives?
See you, John.
The first question again, like, what's manifested in my life? Purpose?
Purpose, a goal, right? An interest that's really captured you and found you, if you found it compelling, worth enough time to invest into it.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's just a double down of rule one, which is to be a fool. Is to say yes to more things. I think you gotta just touch on that, but you don't know what you don't like or what you like until you taste it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So the more things I taste, the more things I like, the more things I go, oh, I think I like that. I like camping, I like hiking. So I'm camping and hiking more. I wouldn't have known that unless I would have tried, Yeah. Exactly. And that can be applied to anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I think for me, this phenomena has manifested itself, throughout my life, just yeah, I guess in a way, like what you said, saying yes to things or not being able to just shut things out, like having the capacity to try something because I think it's fun, or there's something that my friends see in it that's fun, and then I want to try it out.
Okay.
And that goes for like hobbies, you know, like John said, like hiking, camping. I've grown an interest in those things, and I probably wouldn't have found that if I never like at least tried. I hear a lot of people say they don't like camping, but then when they do, then they're like, oh yeah, like that, I could see myself doing that. But
Right.
I think at a young age, I always kept my options open, and my passion or my purpose that I found is to be, you know, a graphic designer, a creative director that can empower other people around me and spark their creativity and in a way teach art and design one day. And I think I got to that because I was into a lot of hobbies when I was a kid. You know, I went really deep into a lot of the things that I liked. I got a guitar. I was into music. I learned the shit out of guitar. I was an artist. I would paint, stay up all night, learning how to do stuff by myself, looking at my friends. I was in a yo-yo club when I was in elementary school, and I would just try yo-yo tricks all day. And I just like little things here and there. And skating too, you know, like really tried to skate my ass off. So just having all these things, I think, created a bunch of doors and potential outlets for things that could eventually be something like a passion or a potential career. You know, because skateboarding in a way, spending all that time doing that got me into art and design as well. It kind of merged a whole bunch of worlds for me. And yeah, I'm able to make money and live a pretty sustainable life for myself and take care of my parents and my little brother because I had a bunch of hobbies that potentially led to a career, or they did lead to a career where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a weird phenomenon that happened. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, everything you've done up until now has led you up until now.
Yeah.
True.
It's kind of like the whole point, right?
like a
You're
paradox.
David because of everything you've done yesterday, like the day before.
Right. I think as far as like I was answering in terms of more of like the passion that I always had with like graphic design. That's like
Yeah.
my career now, you know, and
Sure.
skateboarding and the little things that I got into definitely like got me into like I guess I fell in love with it more. You know what I mean?
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's how you are yourself right now, is because like you decided to try those things.
Yeah.
Here, I want to, because you say skating led into your, you know, passion for design and graphic design, right?
Totally.
I want to know if you can recall a point in your life where it was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, so I was into skate culture, right? Like wearing like brands and I guess like the streetwear kind of brands. And when I was skating, I noticed that a lot of the skateboarders were into the same streetwear brands. So I saw this thing with brands and logos and the most, you know, edgy brands and whatnot. I saw this weird kind of culture forming. And I also had a passion for art. And when I took a class in high school called it was called multimedia at the Center for Advanced Research and Technology in Clovis, CART, I saw graphic design as an option, and I was like, graphic design, like what's that? But it was a bridge between art, like the stuff that I liked about the whole skateboarding and design and brand and stuff, and then it was also something to where I could potentially get a career. So I just said yes pretty much to that lane in high school.
Okay.
And I saw, hey, graphic design actually is applied to, you know, skateboards. Like I can design my own skateboards. I can design my own skate culture, t-shirts, brands. And I saw a whole world that was involved with itself. And I said yes to that.
Sick.
So it was in high school. Yeah.
Could you recall what year that was? Was that like freshman, sophomore?
It was when I was a sophomore.
Sophomore.
I knew I was into art as
It's like 15.
sophomore. Like, something like that, 16. But then when I took the class, I was like, oh, this is where all this stuff is like kind of made in a way.
Yeah.
And
It touches everything, right? I mean, the computers we use, the books we're reading, the images behind us. It's like graphic design is in everything. Right?
Yeah.
And you realize that real young, it seemed.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you know, what's interesting is hearing everybody's story everybody discovered something that they were passionate about or interested in before 18, right? You hear from your mom about how important money is before 18. You take a class your sophomore year before 18 and find these things. So it's more than likely that you've stumbled across something that has compelled you. Like you've been interested in these things, right? Or you're just finding that now. Right. And it's worth really diving into, right? There's things that we find really interesting and you know what it is. It's just about pulling the trigger on it and saying yes, right? And trying these things, right? David's got a whole career doing what he was passionate about at 15 years old, right? If you think about that, you have that same opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Just say yes. And it's not going to be this like, okay, I say yes, now I got a career. You had to go to school. You had to do freelance work. There's struggle involved in finding a passion and making, salary off of it or a name out of it. And so it's more likely that you found these things. And if you haven't yet, really think, because there's something that's interesting to you, right?
Right.
For myself, when I was, a baby, my mom was like, hey, what college are you going to go to, right? My mom always says that story. Oh, yeah. What university are you going to go to? You're going to go to Stanford? You're going to go to this? You're going to go to that? So education was instilled that, okay, this is something that's important, right? It wasn't until I was probably, let's say freshman year of high school that I took a class called conceptual physics where I was introduced, okay, here's earth science, right? As a whole, right? At high school, you don't get the specific things. You kind of just get these overall, here's the topic. And I had Mr. Bueno and he was like, hey, they have this thing called USGS. And so that's a United States Geological Survey. And so they just study the earth. You can do all different types of things, volcanoes, subduction, all different types of geologic processes you can study. And then I have an uncle who was doing his master's at the time that was like, hey man, you got to do geology. The geologists are getting hired out of the classrooms, right? There's always going to be a job in geology. Think about it. Everybody needs water. Everybody needs oil. Everybody needs some sort of natural resource. True. You can have your hand in that. And from there, my interest was piqued, right? Okay. I chose geology at that point. That was 14, right?
Wow.
14
I don't think I knew that.
And
interesting.
Then I went to college and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do geology. And, everybody during GE is like, I just got to do what I got to do just to get out of here. Right.
I feel like a lot of colleges like that.
Oh yeah. Right. That's the vibe.
I feel like that's what it's like.
And I'm so grateful that I did just the GE stuff before I went and transferred up and did say the geology, this is what it is stuff. Because I got, this foundation of knowledge that everybody in STEM has to get, no matter what you're in. Even if you're in chem, you're in this, you're in that, you have to take these sets of classes to understand your field, right? Yeah. Then I get to Fresno State. So here, the real inflection point for me was I failed Calculus 1, right? And from there, I took it again, and the teacher was like, hey, if you go to the math center, it was like this little study center at Reedley College that was like, if you go there 1 hour a week, I'll give you extra credit, right? And I was like, I'm not doing anything. I have a job at the time. And if I did have a job, it didn't start till way late in the day. Yeah. And so 1 hour a day. I was like, okay. So I went there. It started with 1 hour, 1 hour a week. It started with 1 hour a day. And then it progressed into I spent more time there, and you would clock in on the computer so they could see how many hours you were there. I think I was there 700 something hours in this one semester. And because of that, I became really good at math. Damn. I got hired at the math center. I got hired at the tutorial center as a tutor of the same subject I failed not even a year before.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right? And then from there, I was like, oh, I can get paid to use my brain. You know what I mean? I was working in the packing houses, doing just manual work where I'm like, this is garbage. No offense to anybody doing that work. I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I know for a fact this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? Then I transfer up to state and it's geology only, right? I'm not taking a chem. I'm not taking science, any other science besides this is what geology is. Learn it. And from that point, it was like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Dang. Days out in the field, taking all these ideas we're taught and then forming an idea with them. And why is this rock here? It seems like a simple question, but it comes with all these other stipulations, right? Yeah. But because of that, I found a passion, right? I'm a grad student now. I'm teaching at Fresno State. I'm doing lab instruction. And, I could see how it's impacted even the people around me, right? There was a crew I went to undergrad, that I did undergrad with, who still comes to me, some are still in undergrad, asking questions, right? And there's people that come to me in my own family that are like, oh, can you help me with this subject? Right? And because of just a few little instances where it was like, oh, maybe I can do this. Hey, check this out. Before I was 18, I now have this whole, I want a PhD. I want to do, I want to teach at a university level. There's all these different things that came from these little couple instances, right? And it was something I just found interesting and compelling.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was just 1-2 occasions where I was like, hey, you might like this. And it was true. And it turned out to be what I am now.
Damn.
Right? And so there's a good chance that you have been exposed to something that you really like and you're passionate about. Fully pursue it. Right? And, it's been a blessing. And how my life's changed and how the guys here's lives have changed based on just certain little interests that they pursued, it's substantial. It's not negligible.
And we're doing this podcast because we sort of said yes to just recording and starting it, even though we weren't sure. Like, we were just like, okay, we need a camera, we need this. Like, we went down that lane.
Right.
It's pretty interesting. I think this phenomena that he talks about is everywhere. It happens all the time.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to pivot us into the next little topic of kind of just taking us a step further, right? So now we know what's compelling and what's interesting to us, right? And by analyzing that, we know what direction we need to go in order to achieve our goal or purpose, right? So what should we expect on this journey? So JBP says, it's going to be a perilous journey, but it's also the adventure of your life. Aim at something. Pick the biggest target you can currently conceptualize and stumble towards it. Keyword stumble toward it. If the path you see forward appears more challenging, then you can be reasonably sure that you are not deluding yourself when you choose your path. In this manner, you will zigzag forward. This is not the most efficient way to travel, but there is no linear path to success. You'll find that over time. Incremental progress will be made toward achieving your goal. With each small victory, your image of what success looks like will become clearer, right? So there's some key words in there. Stumble, right? Incremental, zigzag. These are they seem like small terms that you can kind of pass over, but it's the biggest ones in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
It's the ones that people don't align with what success actually looks like.
Right. So when people picture success, they just kind of see the end, right? They see, oh, this person's successful. They don't see...
They see the ice. They see the ice above the water, not below the iceberg.
What did Nipsey say? He said, I'm here. They don't see the whole journey that got me to this point.
Yeah.
Right? Only the people that do the research do. So the question now is, on your path toward what you deem as a success, what did you encounter along the way?
I mean, we can all speak to that we encountered some chaos, right?
Oh, yeah.
We always talk about getting from point A to point B and enjoying the journey, and there's totally ups and downs along the way. I guess if you looked at it on the X and Y axis, you can draw the trend line going up, but there's definitely some pits and, dips in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah. I think two statements that come to mind as far as like pursuing any journey is, one, we only live once. I think we get caught up in being young so much that like we forget that we're not going to be here forever. And then, I had another one, but I think I got so caught and focused to remember that I forgot the other one.
You're only young once.
Yeah, you're only young once, and you're not going to be here and be able to pursue everything forever. Age really starts to kick into gear once you get older, and we'll realize that when we get older. But I think when you find your purpose at a younger age and you are striving to get somewhere, it should feel somewhat good to go through like the downs and not just up. Because just imagine if everything was as easy as someone saying, hey, if you pursue that, you can be the greatest mountain climber of all time. If you could do that thing, wouldn't everybody try to pursue that?
If it was that easy.
If it was that easy.
Yeah.
Right? If everybody could do it, why is it worthwhile? Right? I think that's what makes things worthwhile, is because it's hard and not everybody can do it. So I think that's what the value or the nature of I don't know why people want to pursue things that are harder than things like why do you want to become a neuroscientist rather than just a
a regular
science
MD.
teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? What passion? What's driving you so much to becoming a neuroscientist compared to just being a science teacher at, let's say, the high end high school down the street? Like, there's a different level of like struggle that some people just thrive for. And it's not just struggle. People want real success, but I think the struggle is what makes things, I guess,
The struggle.
the benefit of it. But a lot of people get buried under the struggle and they can't see their way out.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so it's hard.
No two struggles will ever be the same.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
What else can we expect? We got chaos, we got struggle on this journey,
I think
right?
every single person here has a common denominator. Right.
What is that?
Meaning you've experienced it, I've experienced it, John's experienced it, and David's experienced it. As men, I think we can all say we've been in love at one point, right? And, there will be points in your life, it's like at a young age, that you think you found this person, right? Your person or whatever that might be. And when or if that does not work out, you hit this wall.
So you're thinking about it in terms of relationships, this what to expect, or
I would expect this is what I'm saying. Expect detours.
Well, did the relationship that you came out of alter your life, or did you learn a lot? Did you like oh, I'm cool, I'll keep walking in my path? Like, that really didn't faze me.
No, that wasn't me, bro.
I think what Jay's saying is, like, if you do get into something very serious at a young age and that you hit a wall, like a breakup happens, that could potentially alter your life in a very big way. And it can make you a better person or it can make you worse, but it's a form of struggle, chaos, route being altered in some sense.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Because for myself, I was with this person, moved out of state, broke up, and I was left with a decision. Do I stay in Washington? With that life meaning, okay, I have to work full time in order to pay off the bills, and I'll have to only go to school this much, right?
Yeah.
Or I have the decision to come back to California, where I can not pay that much in rent because I can stay with my parents, I can stay with my grandparents, and I could study in order to give myself a better future here, right? So I was left with these two choices, and I ended up completely changing the story and coming back.
Okay.
Right? Detours are to be expected.
Yeah.
Okay, detours. So
Struggle,
audience.
detour, chaos.
yeah.
And the question, refresh the question again.
What can you expect in this
On your path towards success.
Towards success.
Your journey.
Potentially having a different paradigm on life, growth. There's like two quotes I really like. One, it's once a man's mind, once stretched by an idea, can never regain its original form. The other one is like, how can I expect to fit myself into the person I was last year?
Right.
Like, I wouldn't be able to fit because like the growth on the way, like what I've learned, the connection that it'll make, like the empathy that I've gotten to share with people, all of that helps shape you. And like what I keep hearing from you guys is you're like, all these things help make us who we are tomorrow. Now equals tomorrow.
Right.
So that's kind of what I keep getting from listening to you guys talk.
No, definitely. I think that's what the root of. I think that's the root of where we try to come from. All of us just sitting here, like, we fucked up a lot. Like, we're still trying to figure out our journey, and we're not even at where we want to end up.
Right.
And we may never end up where we want to end up. But the struggle and the successes are the beauties of our journey.
Okay.
Camaraderie, like laughter.
Yeah.
I'm doing this physical competition right now with my buddy, and like, I'm doing this crazy. I told you, like the 4-mile run at 12 o'clock, and I'm laughing my ass off because no one in the world will ever know like how struggling I was doing that run because I was like so fucked up. But this one guy would, and I know that he's gonna be fucking like brewing in his seat. Because he's gonna hate me. He's gonna hate that like I'm like crazy. But like I'm only doing that for him, for that competition, to be like ha. And I'm like I don't know what about that like I like so much, but it was fun for me. And when we got to hang out, we got to laugh about it.
Yeah.
I hate you so much for doing it. Like it's exactly.
He's like, I thought I had you.
And like he says that with a smile and love on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it safe to say though, like, we're talking about expectations as far as like, the struggles, but you can also expect a lot of benefits too. I mean, Jordan Peterson says, with discipline and, I guess principle based, life and stumbling and doing this and entering this journey, you're going to see a lot of benefits too. I mean, I think in terms of like how we're describing ourselves, right, on this phenomena, I've seen way more benefits to how I live my life now than I was when I was, I don't want to say like a couple years ago before we started doing this and reading, and it's helped me. I think I'm stumbling towards my, let's say, the goal. Yeah, I'm stumbling towards it, even though I knew that I wanted to do something in this lane at 15, which is graphic design and art and design. Even though that's the lane that I chose, I'm still stumbling towards something that I think is greater than that. And I see nothing but benefits from, knowing where my map is, or at least having my compass and aiming high at something. Yes, there's a lot of struggles and stuff that comes with that, but tons of benefits. Yeah. Tons of benefits.
Makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. So here's another question, right?
I got one more thing to add to that.
Go for it.
About it's okay to go backwards sometimes.
Yep.
100%.
I was doing this hike with my friends, and there's supposed to be a loop, and thank God I fucking was checking my map. We're walking, and I look at my thing. I was like, dude, we're like a mile out on. We're on a trail called There's like a red trail that we're supposed to be on. Mm-hmm. We're like a mile out on a trail called Death March. I don't think the road forked and we took the wrong way. We did that 3 different times. I was like, dude, if we didn't recheck the map and backtrack, we would have still been on Death March today. I wouldn't have made the podcast. So
how do you know when you need to backtrack a little bit? I know you use that as like a metaphor, like the hiking, but how would you say if you're aiming towards something that you would know when to sort of aim lower or recalculate?
Let's just use like trading, for example, because Deb brought up trading. Let's say you're playing with beer money because you want to do something, and you're losing $100 every week. You're like, okay, maybe I should reassess. Maybe I should only lose $50 a week, until I start figuring stuff out. Because if I lose $100 a week, there's 52 weeks. You do the math. That's $5,200 a year. Like, can you afford that? Or should you backtrack and reassess? Like, maybe I should have a smaller goal. Maybe my goal should be to make $5 a day, and then I can scale that up once I've figured out like a formula. That's just one example.
Yeah.
And I brought that up because we just said not too long ago, aim high, like aim at the highest goal. I think we can encounter where we try that, and then it's like, oh, maybe I need to reassess or aim a little bit lower.
When you guys said that, I didn't say anything because I've been listening way more today. But I was saying to myself, like, a bunch of little goals is what I do. Yeah. Like, I don't have like a big goal I could tell you right now, but I have like a million little things that like I want to do. That I know are at least aiming me in a direction that I want to be.
So, using kind of a metaphor, are they pebbles part of a bigger boulder, or are you just picking up pebbles?
I'm picking up pebbles towards a summit that I don't know exactly what summit it is. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a direction and I have a vision, but I don't see it clearly yet.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, you can only see like 50 feet in front of you. Like, you're still picking up those.
But I know if I keep moving in this direction, that I at least won't be not happy. I at least won't be stagnant.
Yeah.
So it at least won't be time wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of brings me to the next question is, what do you think happens when a purpose or goal isn't pursued? What does that look like?
I think it looks like anxiety, depression. A lot of times, I'm dealing with youth now, and people, even we all do, we throw the word anxiety around a lot. And I unpack it with them. And I was like, do you have anxiety, or is the weight of responsibility weighing on your mind? Like, are you feeling anxiety because you haven't done your homework and it's due and you've had a week to do it and it's the day before? Is that giving you anxiety? Well, that's a normal emotion. You should feel that way. Right. You don't have anxiety. You postpone your responsibilities. If you're like, another metaphor, if you're just treading water, you'll start to feel not good about it. You know, you were like, hey, I want to get out of the pool. Where the fuck's the edge at?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. No,
Anxiety and depression. Okay. Anything you guys have to add to that?
As far as a specific feeling, I wouldn't know. I think anxiety is a great one. Depression can be led from pushing off your goals and things that you want to pursue, only because I think what comes to my mind is if you're telling yourself, let's just say regular daily task, like you have to do laundry, maybe you have to study, maybe you go for your workout at the gym,
Quadrant 3.
You have your work. Let's say 2 weeks goes by and you're not doing your laundry, and then you stop going to the gym, right? And you start to do that over and over, and it's not just 2 weeks, it's 3 weeks, and 3 weeks becomes 4 weeks, 4 weeks. But what you're doing is building a habit of not doing it. Mm-hmm. I think, in a sense, why you didn't have depression, or why you didn't have anxiety, or why you felt really good about yourself, is because you were getting everything done.
Yeah.
When you start to let yourself down, you unconsciously or consciously recognize, hey, I don't like this feeling, but hey, I don't want to do these things. But when it comes to it, you feel bad about it. When it comes down to you analyzing yourself and you feel sad right now, it's probably because you didn't do the things you're telling yourself that you were supposed to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're breaking your own habits, and you're breaking your own trust within yourself. So I think that's a real deep sense of like where the depression, anxiety could come from as well. Is like you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it.
Yeah.
And then that happens over and over and over again.
Good point. Yeah. You have anything to add to that? Anxiety, depression, fear.
I think that's a big topic that maybe we could save for another podcast. You know what I mean? I think we should dedicate like a whole episode to that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get off topic too much about anxiety, but what Devin said is facts. Habits, in a short nutshell, your habits.
Yeah.
And responsibility, like John said.
Yeah.
Are you actually, throwing this anxiety and depression in there, or do you just have responsibilities that you're not taking care of, and that's where that's coming from?
I'll add one thing too, is that if you don't choose a purpose or a goal, it'll be chosen for you, right?
Definitely will.
Meaning, okay, I'm pursuing this goal. You are now in control of, okay, this is where I need to go in order to get where I want to go, right? Or, hey, I'm just going to kind of go work this job reactively, right? I need to pay bills, so I go work a job, right? You're working towards somebody else's goal, right? I have a goal to fill in the blank. Let me hire workers to do that and fulfill that goal, right? Your goal and purpose has now been chosen, right? So if you don't choose your purpose or your goal, it'll be chosen for you. That's all I wanted to add.
That's a good point.
All right. So in this chapter, are there any tools we can add to our tool bag to deal with the chaos that's expected along the way, right? So some tools JBP highlights: notice your errors and misconceptions along the way. Face them and correct them. Get your story straight. Past, present, and future. They all matter. We need to map our path. We need to know where we were, so we do not repeat the mistakes of the past.
Yep.
We need to know where we are going, or we will drown in uncertainty, chaos, and starve for hope and inspiration. Voluntarily confront what stands in your way, right? And he also offers the Fool from last episode and last chapter, if you guys are following along. These are some tools that JBP adds to our toolbox, and it's up to you to sharpen them and make them more efficient. But I want to ask, are there any other tools that have helped you along your guys' path?
Yeah, for me, the biggest tool that I use all the time, it's coming out of my mouth. I don't like the way I said the biggest tool. I wanted to make my hand. So cut that. The what I use the most, what's helped me out the most since really once I think I started becoming an independent person, is that a strong sense of habits, healthy habits, has like always kept me on the rails. It's not like the fix all be all, because I can still like do bad while doing these habits. But I know if I like do these certain things, I feel that I'm doing better than most people. And that alone can like help guide me, you know, like, cause sometimes like, we all slip, you know, like we're not all fucking X Games mode all the time. Like it's impossible. But like, I do wake up and like make breakfast. I do make sure to like cook dinner and pack a lunch, you know, it's that way. Like I have food for tomorrow. You know, I do like all these little things that like, if they would all pile up, you would feel overwhelmed. But like, you know, you're doing this stuff. I know I'm going to the gym every day. You know, I know I'm going with the ace to do something.
Yeah.
And like that stuff makes me feel mentally healthier, I think.
Yeah, I can resonate with that.
Healthy habits. That's a good one. That's a really good one. How about you guys?
One thing that I picked up from this chapter, just in regards to what Jordan Peterson said, because I feel like I could run on a tangent on what tools. But one thing I grabbed from this chapter is he says on page 64, there is nothing more important than learning to strive under difficult and frustrating circumstances to play fair. And he's referring to things that he's talking about in the book, according to like Harry Potter and the games that they played. But like how I took that, and I think Jordan Peterson's message for like, I'm going to just speak on men, for a lot of men, is find something to struggle through that has purpose. If you don't know where to find that, look for inspiration. Look around you. Look at people that you find to be intriguing, people that you're interested in, and let them guide you. Even if you don't know them, we have the internet at our disposal. But one tool, like why I take that as a tool, is because I find myself a lot, especially being younger. I think it kind of the habit of being lazy and not wanting, say, like doing my homework. I think that carried on throughout my adulthood, and I had to correct that at some point. And I think I saw it somewhat in college, but after college, I was like, I'm kind of like slowing down from college, getting out of college, recognized it in work life. And so I think at some point I had to just check myself. I had to reanalyze my whole habitual way of thinking about things. And my habits weren't as strong as they are. Like my habits right now are like crazy strong compared to when I was 20 or 21 or 19.
So you had to become self-aware.
Self-aware of like, I need to be struggling. If I'm not struggling, then what am I doing?
Well, you also repacked or you unwired or rewired old habits.
Yeah, I definitely rewired and kind of went in there and just recircuited some things. And I wasn't living a wrong life. It was just more of my habitual, like what John was saying, is like my habitual my habits weren't leading into a life that I was really finding enjoying.
Okay.
So
interesting.
I think the struggle to thrive in a purpose or a goal is sort of what tool I use the most, is always look to like, am I struggling enough? And if I'm not, am I too comfortable? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
And you know, with the habits thing, I think why it's so easy for me to pick up and like why I like it so much is because watching my dad, he's a very habitual person. Like he goes to the gym every day. This dude's 60. He's been doing it since I can remember, you know. He packs lunches every night for the whole family. You know, like it's very mechanical.
Yeah.
But he's happy. He likes doing it, you know? And like, so me seeing that every day my whole life growing up, I was like, I thought that's just what you do, you know?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pivot onto how I would say is a tool. Just going off of what John said, right? He brought up his dad. He had that figure in his life to show him potentially those habits at a young age. And so John is like, these habits will always be beneficial for me. That's like his toolbox, right? That's like the biggest tool. I think if you don't have, you know, this person or a dad or whoever that was there, I think for me, counsel.
I'll be your dad.
Yeah, John will be your dad. Hire John to be your dad. No, I was gonna say, honestly, the biggest tool for me was just, like counsel, bro. Like you guys help me think clearly. People, surround yourself with people who want the best for you and who can hold you accountable. We just did an episode on outsourcing sanity. Yep. I feel like I outsourced my sanity onto you guys for things that if I didn't have a good foundational counsel of good men in my life, good friends, I would be kind of going in circles, or I wouldn't know how to get another perspective on this issue, personal issues, family issues, whatever. that is a great tool, I would say, to have, especially if you didn't grow up with someone who was showing you these like habits or how to live a healthy lifestyle or whatever. You know, at least surrounding yourself with people who you can aspire to be, or that you see have the life that you, or the not even the life, just the habits that you want. Learn from them, hang out with them, you know, deposit into them emotionally. Do what you got to do to surround yourself with a great counsel, or build that counsel.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah.
Great.
Also, hire John to be your dad.
Yeah, I think a lot of, at least being younger, I think we struggle with that, like finding a group that like cares about our passions, our emotions, and because I think when you're younger, you kind of just want to have fun all the time.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have fun. And I think as you get older, you're recognizing having fun should be secondary to like caring about each other. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's easy to find people that, I guess, like, they throw around the care, but it's the accountability. I don't think I had a sense of accountability until, like, because I would assume people are my friends for just caring about, oh, you like design? Oh, you like camping? Oh, that's awesome. Let's do that together. Let's have fun.
Right.
But it's the friends that held you accountable and offered some sort of, I don't know, just being available to listen to you. That's where I just, like, as I've gotten older, I've moved my friend groups around a little bit.
Yeah.
And who I spend the most time with is those people who hold me accountable and can call me out.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. You know, I was like, I know sometimes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was like, yeah, like, I know sometimes, I'm sure you guys and my other friends here, but like sometimes I'll say something that might like dig in, but it's like only because I'm actually your friend, you know, like,
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying stuff. You know, if I didn't care about you, I would not say anything. And like, you wouldn't be the wiser to it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I agree so much with that.
So mine, a tool that I would offer you guys is, you know, and this is one I'm still sharpening, right? Let's say you're putting a knife in the toolbox, you have to sharpen that thing, it dulls out. So I just discovered this new tool called Mindfulness, right? And I hear mindfulness all the time, and it's like, well, what does that even mean, right? It's just taking the time to observe yourself as kind of a separate party, right? Kind of, it's kind of hard to describe, but step back and observe what you do, right? What does your day entail, right? Why do I want to do this?
Yeah.
Why do I have this habit, right? Take the time to be mindful of what it is you do and why you do it.
Ooh,
Right.
that's a good one.
Mindfulness is hard though, right? I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not just something you grab, put it in the bag, and you can do it. People literally, Buddhist monks study their whole life to be mindful. This isn't just something you pick up one day,
Yeah.
right? So practice being mindful, right? We all have habit energies. Be mindful to them, right? Be mindful as to why I make certain decisions, right? And you know what that means, and I know what it means for me, and it's kind of hard to explain, so I'll leave it at that, but just mindfulness. And I'll repeat these tools back to you, okay? So John, he mentioned healthy habits, right? Devin mentioned finding something to struggle through. Reanalysis, right? Rewire certain habits. Proactivity. David mentioned counsel, surrounding yourself with people that want the best for you. Outsource your sanity to the correct group of people. And accountability, right? These people need to be able to hold you accountable in the correct manner, right? And I mentioned mindfulness. So if there's anything else you guys want to mention, say it now before I take us out.
Be flexible.
Be flexible.
Oh,
A rigid mindset is a hard one to build upon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I like that.
Flexible.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to what you're saying, the mindfulness. Any time when anybody mentions mindfulness, I think about awareness, and that has by far been the hardest thing for me to like evolve and adapt into, with like just people in general. Like always being mindful, always being aware of yourself, always being able to like take yourself outside of your body and look at yourself. Right. I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is because how do you know, like, I think we all want to be right or wrong, or I want to be able to like, I need to do this. And we all just want the answers.
Right.
But I think awareness and it's hard. It's not easy,
dude.
You know what I mean?
Not.
Yeah, it's hard to observe yourself as like you watch somebody outside of you.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can watch my family and be like, oh, they do this, they do this, they do this. It's hard to do that when you're just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, all right. So I just had a couple points I wanted to mention, and then I'll take us out. So, first and foremost, understand that life will contain suffering and conflict, no matter what path you choose. Right? Everyone will experience it and deal with it. There is no staying away from it. Just accept that and understand. Then you have to ask yourself the real question, right? Is what I am suffering for now worth it? Take the time to think about that. Is it worth it, what you're suffering for now? Because there is no getting away from it. Okay? And the second point I wanted to add, and I want you guys to answer, what makes for a good story? Think about your favorite movie, book, or TV show.
Happy ever after. No, I'm just kidding.
Are we supposed to answer?
Yeah. Answer it.
Like the first thing that popped in my head was Naruto, and because it's almost like any other anime, but protagonist starts out at the bottom,
The underdog.
no one likes him, and he ends up becoming the most influential person in the village, in the Naruto world, the Naruto verse.
Yeah.
And how, through like earning respect, earning what's it called, merit, you know,
Yeah.
and always keeping his principles. Naruto's thing is he goes, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I never go back on my word, like that's like the fucking whole show.
Yeah.
And like why do I like it? Why do so many people like that? Is because like we wish we could be like that, right? We wish we could see it all the way through and really like accomplish these like grandiose goals that people think we're like clueless, because Naruto wants to be the Hokage, which is the best person, and he's like literally the worst.
Yeah.
But he does it, and we love watching him do it.
Okay. So John said Naruto, and he explained why it was a good story. Do you guys have any TV show, movie, book?
Man, when he brought up Naruto, it made me think of Demon Slayer. It's like a good anime. I really like great stories of like the underdog example. Underdog, the person that's like the oddball, and they work the hardest, and they sort of in a sense outwork everybody else and become something that's bigger than what they thought that they could be. And they learn to wield power for the greater good. So that's what I think.
Okay. How about you, Dev? What makes a good story to you?
I'm trying to think of a movie or like anything that I've watched.
It has to be anime.
We're on this at this point. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it would be something like I think it'd be somewhat of the underdog, the person that comes from nothing, but when they do start to achieve everything, they don't want all the credit for it. And I can't think of like a movie or like a heroic
The Dark
story
Knight.
like the
Well, any good show, like once it get to that, like it's not over, like because the more Naruto grows, the more responsibility is buried on his shoulder. You know?
Yeah.
Like because he's now the dude, and he's like, fuck, everybody depends on me now. Like I didn't know it was gonna be like this, but I got to keep moving forward.
Yeah. So I think I agree with John and David. Like I think someone that like has always been strong when they were nothing, and when they got to having everything, they still stood by their principles and still like were who they were, and they just changed over time, but their principles and their where they stood within themselves didn't change.
Okay.
Principles. I mean, we could use endurance for an example. You know what I mean? It was a real story that happened, and leadership, principles, all that in there.
Yeah. So Naruto,
Demon Slayer,
Avatar: The Last Airbender, Endurance.
No.
All these are good stories. All these are good stories, though. You can't say they're not good stories.
Are you talking about Avatar: the remake movie?
No, the TV show.
Okay, I was about to say.
No, the TV show.
Yeah, the TV show.
I was about to say that movie was trash.
Sheesh. Okay. So all of these, while they're all about different things, they all have the same common thread. A character who wants something and overcomes conflict to get it. Right? That is what makes a good story. And if you think about it, we are all living a story.
And
right?
get this book and read this chapter. It talks about why stories that are great to us stick around throughout time. It's an interesting concept.
Right.
You guys ever heard that like people that can tell great stories usually become like some of the greatest people? I
haven't heard that.
No.
But
Interesting.
yeah, so I'm just going to reiterate that the choices, we are all living a story if you think about it, right? You're writing a story by your daily choices that are being experienced daily. By choosing a noble and lofty goal to aim for, we are proactively choosing to live a better story. So live a better story today. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Paradyme Podcast. This was chapter 2 of Beyond Order by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. We hope you're reading along with us. We highly recommend the book. Before you take off, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment down below. What did you like? Are there any tools you're going to be adding to your toolbox? Maybe you have some tools we can add to ours. Drop that down below, okay? Like the video and follow us on all our social media platforms. All the information you need will be down in the description below. Thank you for your time. And remember, the work you put in now equals who you'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace.